from beautiful Ohio. Not as like extravagant with my beautiful like San Diego, but special place for me and Grant because we're our home state. Grant actually grew up in this metro area. I grew up about 2.5 hours northeast of Columbus, but anytime I'm stepping foot in Ohio, I feel a little bit of joy inside. And I know some people, or maybe a lot of people that are going to be coming to the Arnold Classic on the business side, maybe don't feel the same way because it's going to be cold and it usually snows, and they'd love to be in Vegas where it's warm and all these other things around with the Arnold Classic. But here we are, we're in Ohio, you must love it. You gotta keep coming back every year. So that's why we're here. We're actually visiting Mixed, which is a longtime friend of mine. They're an Amazon kind of services company. You'll get to see a little bit of that. And anybody of my OG kind of followers that have been watching me for like 5 years, I actually visited them a long time ago. We're gonna be kind of taking you along for the whole ride. The Arnold Classic's got a lot of like really cool stuff to check out. So if you haven't been, maybe you'll be able to see it through my eyes. We'll also be seeing like the business side, like the supplement industry side of the show, which isn't as exciting as like the fitness industry side, but we'll give you the duality of both, so you'll get to see that kind of stuff. But we're actually going to be heading to Mixed now. Head right over there. I have a podcast that I'm going to do. They were nice enough to ask me to be a guest on their podcast, which is always great to be a guest instead of somebody that is always the one putting on the podcast. So that'll be exciting. Have another podcast tomorrow with a really good friend of mine. But other than that, it's going to be a very busy couple of days, 48 hours, I guess. And this vlog is going to be packed, so stick around.
We built this in 2020, broke ground right in the middle of COVID. People were like, are you guys sure you're gonna build? And we're like, we have to, because you saw the old space. It was like 3,000 square feet. So we built this 12,000, and then we just expanded on. We have another 9,900. Broke ground, officially put it into use in 2020, and then we put the second half of the building into full use at the beginning of 2022. So altogether we have just shy of 23,000 square feet. This is like our office, which we can come back. Kind of show you the warehouse setup. It's not quite, you know, first form, but you know, we got our thing here. Josh, obviously, you know what we do, but what we do is we help brands utilize the Amazon platform. So we're really good at helping them. Full service. We manage the logistics. We manage pick, pack, ship. We'll get the product into Amazon, manage listings, text, content, SEO, sell the product, and then rinse and repeat that. We do a lot of sports nutrition. We kind of started in sports nutrition back in 2015, and we've just kind of continued in that. But we have a lot of different things now. We have health and wellness. We have grocery and gourmet, niche grocery. We have more than one chocolate brand, meat sticks.
You guys also do a lot of like localized stuff, right? Like, I mean, all the local kind of Columbus metro.
Yeah, so we have Anthony Thomas. So there's your, you know, your classic Columbus company. We got Westside Barbell. We got Earthly. Earthly's an interesting company on the other side of town. Brave Wilderness, they're in Columbus. Yeah, another content creator, this guy by the name of Coyote Peterson, who's on the podcast. He's got like almost 5 billion views on his YouTube channel. He's the king of Sting. I don't know if you probably see, you'd be like, oh yeah, I've seen that video. We put this second half of the building into operation at the beginning of 2022. So we continue to expand. So what, halfway through 22, Brad, we actually bought the building next door. So now we have this, which is almost 23, and then across the street is 13,300. This got put into use at the beginning of 2022. So basically the way that our warehouse works is everything will flow in that door and then stored and then get worked on in the other end. It's either boxes or pallets, but everything's pretty much going back to Amazon FBA. Every item that we sell will come here, and it'll be like 1.1, 1.2 million units coming in and out of this building this year.
I was telling Grant, like the first time I met you guys, you were in like an old converted house.
Yeah.
This is, I don't know if it was 2015-ish.
Probably. So we started in Austin's parents' basement, which is the wrong place to start a logistics company, because you're just like carrying packages up the stairs and out and back down. And then we went to like a warehouse that was the size of legitimately like a bathroom. Wasn't even really a warehouse. It was just this store room that this guy had, and he's like, yeah, if you guys want, like, you can rent it. Then we moved to downtown Plain City. That's where it was, that like converted downtown area. And then we moved Hilliard, Plain City again across the street, and then we built this. So like basically 1 year lease over and over again for 5-6 years until we built this, and then purchased the one across the street, built the extension, and now we're thinking like maybe a 50,000-60,000 square foot facility if we can find the land to do it out in this area would be the ultimate goal.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's been good, you know. We got good brand partners, and I think we have a good model. I mean, I think people like the way the model works. It's a lot easier to approach the model in the way that we do, whereas we're purchasing the inventory instead of, hey, Josh, I'm charging you these fees, and you're looking at the invoice like, what do you mean you have a $17,000 invoice this month? People aren't into that. So
because I think especially in the niche that you're in, if it's sports nutrition or just supplements in general, that is one category that tends to have, I would say, not as much like capitalization. Like it doesn't come in with the people who are, you know, $2 million pre-revenue and they have all this capital and they can be patient and they can pay off for all these services. Like they need to sell product. And I think what you just kind of mentioned about that model being effective, it also...
Yeah, and it's interesting because we'll see companies that are sort of smaller getting started and they're like, yes, this makes so much sense. But then you see a huge business that's like a $200 million company and they're like, yeah, we just don't want to mess with this. Like, we love the way you guys do it. Simple, straightforward, streamlined, easy. It's only really those companies that are like in the middle of like the growth. They're like, oh, I'm not sure about this. We might be able to do it a little better. Optimize. And we're like, sure, go ahead.
Good luck.
We'll say the rest of it.
What shirt you got on?
So Ohio is for lovers. People are telling me this is some type of Hawthorne Heights thing. Again, I'm not an emo, so I have no idea what that is or what that means. I think it's, you know, one of those things where like Drake is a certified lover boy in Canada, but in Ohio, it's this guy. I still own, I think I own the title still.
This is this song.
I'm getting an education.
All you have to do is just learn this one song.
I'm gonna get copyright infringed by Hawthorne Heights since I said I don't know who they are. They're gonna come out.
Ohioan who doesn't know.
I was lucky enough that because I had that experience with my dad being an entrepreneur and giving me the chance of kind of learning, I got an accounting degree from Kent State University. I went on and got my MBA there as well, but my path, I guess, into supplements or just CPG, that was never the plan at the time. I was gonna go to law school, I was gonna be a tax attorney. Other than BSN, I don't think there was anybody that was really doing the type of stuff we were doing. You know, being the official sponsors of the UFC and having that big bright lime green on the shorts of, you know, every UFC fighter every week. And this is also the time the UFC was like growing. We were riding that wave as well. Yeah. And there was a ton of just things that we did really well all at once. There were a lot of things we didn't do very well. One, I think, obvious one that people could point to is that we didn't make money. And I've spent a lot of time recently thinking about, you know, now if you go on any corner, there's like these testosterone clinics or these like, you know, these different service, outpatient services or like, you know, low invasive procedures if it's, you know, things with around weight or if it, you know, vitamins or whatever it is. There's all these clinics out there. That is providing a completely different kind of way to attack these problems that might affect certain product categories.
Josh, where are we? What's going on here?
So I booked us a little bit of a different digs for this trade show. We're in a Wonder Bread Lofts. I think it's an old bread factory that they turned into lofts. I thought it was just perfect because it literally is like CPG, food, beverage, whatever. There's like all these like cool signs or whatever. So me, Big Burner, definitely spending the night in a little bit of a different environment than our typical hotel rooms. But this is super cool, super industrial. We're only a couple blocks from the convention center too. So any of you like losers that are staying at the host hotels, come on, like up your game a little bit. Book yourself an old bread factory to stay in. So it's 10, a little after 10 here. We got off the plane, as you guys saw, went over straight to Mixed Solutions, did the podcast. That was a super long podcast. I'm used to like 12-minute hits, 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes at the longest. I think it's like an hour and a half or more of that podcast. So I don't know if you guys will listen or watch the whole thing. We will either put the link in the description or pop up something for you guys to kind of check that out. But I'm definitely feeling like I'm not as interesting as Joe Rogan or anything like that to keep 2 hours of your attention. But they shot 2 hours, and you have 2 hours to listen to of me if you want to. But we're gonna get some rest because we got a whole day tomorrow at the Arnold Classic. We got another podcast with Corey Gregory, one of the co-founders of Muscle Farm, that used to be one of my bosses, that now has his new supplement brand, Max Effort Muscle, but he does like a shit ton of content. He's like the content guy. So we're gonna be doing a podcast there, a bunch of other stuff we're gonna be showing you, but this is time to get some rest. I wish I had like a whole loaf of Wonder Bread, because that would probably put me to bed a lot quicker. See you guys tomorrow. All right, we're here, Arnold Classic, Columbus, Ohio. There's actually a lot of people here. We're gonna show you around and kind of see this expo from our eyes. Hope you guys enjoy. People know what their goal is. They're like, I want to, sell my business. I want to reach $10 million. I want to whatever that is. And I go, okay, this is where you're at now. This is where you want to be. Here's all the things that you would ultimately need to think about if you do want to achieve that. Because yeah, it's great to say you want these vanity metric goals, but like, do you actually know what it takes to get there? Do you actually know what it, and that's where I come in there and kind of put those pieces together and go in there. But to your point around like, do I have this like, cookie cutter approach? No, when I go in, I'm totally agnostic. I go in there and go, let me get in there, understand what the business is about, understand what their constraints are, what they're good at, what they're not good at, and then I start to build out this plan based around all the tools in my tool belt. So it could be like, I'm going to use this tool, this tool, this tool in these types of sequence. The next person I come in, even if they seem like they're competitors, like on face value, they're completely different behind, the hood, under the hood. Like, I got to go in there with totally different tools, and I got to go in there and basically do something that would be totally counterintuitive to the other person, but I have to go in there with like fresh eyes, because at the end of the day, I'm successful if they're successful. I just need to get them to a goal. How I get them to that goal, I can't be romantic about it. Like, I ultimately just have to be good at what I'm doing to help them get to where they're at. If it's this tool or this strategy or whatever, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. For me, I just want to make sure that they're getting to that goal in the most efficient way possible. If you're a psychologist or a psychiatrist, this is probably the wrong thing to do. But like, regardless of how successful I've ever gotten, every morning I wake up and I look in the mirror and I go, you ain't shit. And it's my way to like it's my way to check myself and go like, it doesn't matter what you've achieved. Today's a new day, and you got to approach it in the same way. And you got to prove these people wrong, and you got to keep doing it. You got to keep doing it. And over time, that's just how I've always been. So it doesn't matter if I was, sleeping on an air mattress and like I felt like I hit it good because I made, an extra $1,000 and I thought I was killing it and I could buy drinks to all my friends in college, or it was like, now where I'm like landing these big deals and I'm like on the top of the world, and then I look at myself and I go, no, you're still ain't shit. I feel like if anybody ever, is watching any of my content, I always am trying to create the most high-level, efficient, quick shit. So like, it's 10 minutes of like the most dense shit possible, but I don't get to show a lot of like my personality or whatever. And we're doing like these vlogs now where like I'm traveling around. I have Grant, my cameraman, and like people are like, man, you're actually like a little bit funny every once in a while. You actually are like, you can talk.
You're always talking like numbers and spreadsheets. Like, there's not a lot of humor in that.
You actually have some personality. And I'm like, okay, like I didn't realize that people wanted to see that. All my intention was, right after the podcast, like I normally do, or anytime I get off stage, is to get my first reaction. But there was a ton going on. There's just a ton of people, actually a lot more people than I thought from an attendee standpoint. The Arnold Classic, I don't know, people were telling me last year wasn't all that well. A lot of people attended it, but I actually thought there was a lot of people, especially on Friday. Friday's usually always the slowest day. So we wanted to do the clip outside of it, so I apologize and do them very quickly. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the little B-roll for there, but it was great. Honestly, I was telling the guys on the podcast, I could see myself in their shoes, like when I was in my mid-20s, early young buck trying to like learn the industry or whatever. So I had a ton of fun just like jamming with those guys. Like I felt like I was on like a Barstool Sports podcast. Maybe one day I could be on Barstool Sports, but until then, I was on Corey G's podcast. So we got day 3. Today's not gonna be as exciting because we're not going into the expo. You guys got to already see all that anyways, but we're gonna be spending time in the Hyatt, which is something that I learned like a decade ago, that this is like the meeting place for the supplement industry. So that's where all like the deals go down on the supplement industry, but it's not as like, I guess, exciting. So Grant will make it look a little bit cool with like an editing or whatever like that. But I gotta fly out later today, so there's just a ton of meetings and all that kind of stuff going on here. And Grant, are you trying to pay attention to my
I am.
shirt?
What is that, Josh?
What the heck? Stop staring at my shirt.
What is it?
Shout out to Barbell Apparel. A couple months ago, they sent me a bunch of stuff and they wanted me to like kind of up my style. I took it a little bit of as an offense because I was like, wait a minute, I have bad style. And my wife will say I've got dad style even though I'm not a dad. But they sent me a bunch of like really cool stuff, high quality stuff. I don't have a code. I'm not trying to like tell you guys to buy anything or whatever. But this shirt has like some flex emojis on it. And I was like, where am I gonna wear this shirt at? The Arnold Classic. Why wouldn't I wear it at the Arnold Classic? So got a ton of compliments on this, people liking it. So yeah, it's a good shirt. I don't know. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just want to say that I'm like super appreciative for anybody that like stuck around this long and watched this vlog. I mean, these are a labor of love for me and Big Fern. We are having a blast doing it, but we just really appreciate anybody that's supported us and supported this kind of new direction on some of the content that we're doing. I know that I always say like smash that thumbs up, you know, hit the like, but like really anybody that's given me a little bit of attention out of their day, like I'm super appreciative of that. Hopefully you guys got value back by this content. If you guys have any ideas or you guys have anywhere where you think we would like want to go to or whatever, I mean, we're open to kind of ideas here. And we'd love for some of that feedback so we can make this better so it's more entertaining for you guys. But I just want to thank you guys again. But I'm getting out of here. Actually, Grant's gonna stick around. I'm getting out of here though. I got a plane ride to go. So Grant.
Peace, Josh.
Yeah.